What if you could be a superhero? Dave here from DC On Screen. If you love this show and you want to see it continue and thrive, please be sure to visit iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star written review. The process is faster than a speeding bullet. You don't even have to wear tights or a cape. I mean, you can, if you're into that kind of thing. No judgment. What's important is that you tell the world what you like about the show and why you think they should be listening too. It really does go a long way in helping our show grow and expand, pushing us into more people's eye and ear holes. That was a weird way to put that. By the way, leaving a 5-star written review gets you entered into a drawing to win a free DC trade paperback, DVD, or Blu-ray valued at $15 or less. 1 in 10 will win and will be chosen through a true number generator on random.org. Think of it as our version of that antiquated sexist moment where the superhero saves the girl and she gives him a little jaw sugar. Alright, begging is over. Time for a brand new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome into DC On Screen. This is episode 295. Only 5 to go before we hit the big 300.
Wow. CW will take care of that for us.
Yeah, right? I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
This is DC On Screen, the show about all the DC Universe properties on film and television. This episode, we are getting super spoilery on Lucifer 2x11, Stewardess Interruptus. We're going to do our recap and review. The recap, as it is, we return to Lucifer and Chloe's almost kiss, only to find it interrupted by a very friendly stewardess from Lucifer's past. Chloe excuses herself, and Lucifer gives the stewardess the old heave-ho. Soon after, the stewardess and another of Lucifer's former lovers turn up dead, prompting an investigation of Lucifer's string of romantic partners. Lucifer discovers that all of his encounters have been utterly meaningless, but they do at least find a link to a drug smuggling operation that uses flight attendants. Maze, who has been trying to master self-worth after finding no one willing to acknowledge her act of vengeful kindness for Chloe's father, helps with a sting operation to track down the smuggler. It flushes him out, but he does get the drop on Lucifer, who promptly scares the ever-loving hell out of the poor gunman. Their investigation fails to find the actual package involved in the deal, and it is later revealed to be some sort of chemical. When a shadowy man strangles Jamie Kennedy for it, Lucifer, with the help of Amenadiel's straight talk, decides that there's no point in winning the affections of Chloe, since he's not really good enough to be with her. Of course, citing all of the reasons that she is great and all the things that any man should recognize about her. And she agrees, but kisses him anyway. So I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, detective, you're this and this and this and this." She's like, "Oh, you are recognizing it."
Yeah. It was, and she was very much, the lady does protest too much this episode. Which she's been doing anyway, but still.
It's impressive, though, that you can interview that many people who have slept with Lucifer in the last few weeks and think, I still want a piece of this.
Well, the funny part was, like, after mentions of butternut squashes, car batteries, lube, a zucchini, some honey, and then his little dialogue in the back where, like, they bring up, like, a car battery or something. He was like, "Oh, I was improvising." I both deeply want to and never want to know what happened in that bedroom.
I really enjoyed the Vaseline in the car battery.
The Vaseline in the car battery is pretty great.
He's like, "I call it gentleman stacho engines."
That was pretty good. Actually, that was one of my favorite lines, though, was he's talking to Dan and says, "This is actually feeling a bit masturbatory even for me."
Mm-hmm. That was good.
It was.
Best line of the entire episode. "The last thing I need is a step Dan." And Alejandro apparently improvised this line. "You say some really weird things, man."
Oh, well done, Alejandro. That one made me. That made me and the wife laugh. Good job.
Yeah, that was good.
Actually, my favorite line early on, at least, was it's a booty text or whatever. They ask him, like, have you never gotten a booty text or something? And he says, "Of course not. Booties text me," or something like that.
Mm-hmm. You never got a booty call. Booties come to me.
Yeah.
Or you've never made a booty call, is what it was.
Oh, that was it. There we go. And that was the moment where I was like, "Okay, Jamie Kennedy, cool, got you. All right, well, I guess you're going to be in the episode." And then toward the end, I'm like, is Jamie Kennedy just like, is he just doing like cameos now? Is that where he is in life? And then he had his little death scene. I kind of thought, that's just pretty much like he did a cameo. Okay.
Yeah. Well, apparently that Jamie Kennedy experiment did not go well.
It's called an experiment, man. They are not. Yeah. Let me give you my best and worst real quick. Worst thing in the episode: ridiculous airport runway scene. Just just way over the top for me. Didn't look great. Chloe was just making weird gesticulations the entire time. Like she couldn't figure out what to do with her hands. That's
always.
No. Most
that's
of the time she underdoes things. This time she was like moving her hands too much. Like the realistic thing to do in that situation is to grab something very tightly and hold it, not flail about. You never know. We never know. I feel bad talking about some of her acting choices because we don't know. The director might have said, "We need you to flail your hands about." Like,
right.
She could have been like, "No, the realistic thing is to grab something." He's like, "No, we need your hands moving." That could have happened. I don't know.
Right.
So, sorry. Take anything I say about her acting with that. Could be a director grain of salt. Anyway, worst thing, airport scene. Just didn't care for it. Went too much. Best thing in the episode, vodka cereal. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that guy. Is that a thing?
I have no fucking idea. It has never occurred to me, and it sounds terrible. But I was so impressed with it though. I know Burial's a thing. I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and that's disgusting.
I've never actually tried it. It's one of those like on the to-do list, but so far down that I forget it exists. Until something like the amazingly strong vodka cereal thing shows up, and I'm like, you know what? I got to try Burial again one day.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Maze was a cartoon in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Like, why were you so? I don't know, like just hell-bent, no pun intended, honestly, on getting someone to recognize that you guys got the Russian mob on that dude's ass. I mean,
there's a little bit to it. Like, for her, that was a nice thing she did. Like, she tried to do a nice thing for a friend, and no one will recognize that. Now, obviously, for Maze, doing a nice thing is like getting someone that needs revenged for you, but it's still her way of expressing friendship, and she can't get anyone to acknowledge it, and I get that. It was just like they spend a ton of time on it. And there were certain lines that were kind of funny, but it was still just a lot of time. Like, what did she say? Something about like self-worth is something. I wish I'd written that one down. Something about like, I don't need thanks because thanks comes from within, bitches, or something like that.
You say something like that.
Yeah, but they did just spend a little more time on it than I thought was necessary.
I did laugh when she pointed at her body and said, "I'm going to go slut this up."
That was great.
That was funny.
That was great. She points at her, midriff already there. Like, her normal outfits for a lot of people would be what would happen if they said, "I want to go slut this up."
Yeah. I continue to enjoy Dan and Lucifer together. I kind of am starting to wish that Chloe wasn't even a thing on the show.
Yeah, I'm shipping.
Just make it Dan and Lucifer.
Shipping Chloe and Dan pretty hard. Or not Chloe and Dan. Dan and Lucifer pretty hard.
Yeah.
I didn't have much more except, thank God they kissed, right? Let's get that out of the way. Let's get that ship sailing.
I mean, I guess.
Well, we're 1.5 seasons into Will They, Won't They? And, that's plenty of time to spend on will these two people ever kiss.
Right.
So, light that candle, guys. And he actually does have a good speech at the end. That was pretty good. I admit it was moving.
Yeah.
Oh, and, the show did something... It did a thing that it always goes well. When he's actually the devil, he's great. Like, tells the guy, like, you're a bad man and I'm not. I'm much, much worse than that. Flashes his devilly eyes. When the show pulls out the supernatural, it turns into a good show very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But
when he starts blinking and you see that chihuahua underneath.
Yeah, they're very angry chihuahua.
Or that hairless cat from the 9 Lives Aerosmith album.
That's such a weird makeup choice they made. Like, it looks like someone spilled a cup of coffee on a picture of Hellraiser and went, "No, that's our guy."
Right.
But something that I might...
like a California raisin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just left a pear in the sun for too long and painted eyes on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, makeup department. All right. So this, I might be looking into it way too much.
Mm-hmm.
The stalker, though, had a drawing in the background of what looked like a normal man, and then an in-between man, and then a demon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird.
I look forward to seeing more of the Stalker. I'm hoping she shows up more.
She was fun. The thing with the air freshener was a good bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the entirety of her bit was a good bit.
Yeah.
You desperately need interesting characters on the show. Bring her in.
Yeah. It was a good start with the lab tech.
I mean, I say her clearly the Stalker's investigative skills are off the chart here.
Oh yeah.
She could be a great consultant
Mm-hmm.
in a show that just brings in a random nightclub owner.
Mm-hmm. And she was a little fun, but she was very much like they make all these jokes about it's like, who'd you sleep with in the last 8 months, and he's, you're gonna need a bigger notepad. So there's this giant catalog of people that apparently need to be investigated, and the show just so happens to have someone who's like obsessed with Lucifer's sex life.
Right, which they did not need to go through. I mean, the interview was fun. That interview was fun. And, Greg Beeman directed this episode. That shot at the end, dude, of the dude walking away from Jamie Kennedy in the airport hangar. Mm-hmm. That shit looked like an old, film noir.
Oh, yeah.
That was good stuff.
Yeah. Actually, the middle thing, when they start saying how meaningless their encounters with Lucifer were, it was useful. I mean, the interview process served its point. He gets it. He gets that he's just been wasting his time.
Right.
That's fine. It worked for me, and actually, the look on Tom Ellis's face when the first time they say meaningless, the man's a good actor. But you know what made me laugh before that? There's a moment early on where he thinks, or he says something about, is it Janet? I want to say is the name of the Jan or Janet. It's the stewardess that dies.
Jonna.
Okay. There's actually literally a moment where he thinks his penis might have saved her life. Because he's like, if I'd just slept with her, she wouldn't have been here.
Yeah. Yeah, I did laugh when he goes, "Oh, Jonna, always with the tragic timing." Yeah. How'd you feel about the Charlotte DB Woodside Amenadiel story this week?
Not much happened, really. I mean, I still don't really know what she's up to. Apparently, neither does Amenadiel. I doubt she does. The constant references to sex and his reactions were funny, but there's only so long that can last. I thought they hit it about 3 times, and that was the amount where if they'd done it anymore, I'd have thought, you're milking it. Still made me laugh, though.
I mean, it seemed like she was primarily just trying to get Chloe to, I don't know, feel okay about dating Lucifer.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what she's up to with that, because the producers kept saying, she's going to weaponize Chloe and his feelings for her. So she's changed tactics entirely now. She can't get him to leave her alone, so now she's going to get him with her. And we saw in a preview, a month or two ago, whenever they went on hiatus, there's the preview of Chloe's nosebleed. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're dealing with that, but apparently there will be consequences to these cats getting together, and I guess they're going to cover it up in the next 2 episodes. Yeah,
I was actually a little surprised. I was like, we've had the writers saying that they were going to do an arc, and I was like, okay, let's see what your idea of an arc is.
It's apparently going to be the Shadowy Man arc, and it might also involve a flash in the pan. What if Chloe and Lucifer did get together? But it only lasts a couple weeks, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, shadowy man with vials of experimental stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Let's see what that is.
Deadly chemical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. And, that they had that just before this, one of the trailers just recently was 3 episodes left. And some of the internet kind of flipped out, oh my God, they're canceling the series. No word on that. 2 things to say, though. Basically, Lucifer's numbers are not exactly what Fox wants right now. Uh-huh. It's getting 7 million or something, but that's not enough for Fox.
They're greedy bastards.
They really are. So it's a little bit if it was on, it's on the bubble is where it is right now, as far as renewal. And, aside from that, they've got a return date. It's April 24th with Gotham. They've got a return date. They've got episodes listed. It's only 4 episodes or something when they come back. I think right now it's listed at having 16 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But they're scheduled to return, as far as the internet says. And minimally, they've already taped a bunch of episodes. They'll probably shove them on the air. So
yeah, they might burn them off during the summer, but yeah.
Yeah, it may not get that time slot, but they will air them. They've already put too much money in them. And maybe like, Lucifer, back on Friday night for 4 episodes that we already have in the can. Before we weekly wrap up the story with a bad edit. And don't give a shit about the cliffhangers. It's okay. The executive producer will do an AMA in like 3 years and tell you how the show should have ended.
Right.
Well, what we had planned.
Lucifer's taking over the death slot and turning it into a hot spot.
Yeah. God, that would be something that would be copy that actually got handed to somebody. They're going to leave it on a cliffhanger, and years later it's going to be like, well, the show was supposed to end with God turning bad, and Lucifer has to kill him, and then he actually has to take over heaven, and that pisses off Amenadiel, so Amenadiel ends up having to take off hell. It was a whole thing.
So everything that we wanted through the entire... Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting storylines. Okay.
We had a plan for like season 5. Why were you planning on season 5?
Well, after Chloe and Dan break up for the 3rd time.
Yeah. It was actually going to...
we speed up
It's actually going to be
aging.
It's actually going to be that like Trixie appears to die, but she comes back in 3 days because she's actually like the second coming of Jesus. And what?
When she comes back, she's like 28 and super hot.
Yeah.
And Lucifer wants to bone her, but Chloe can't get her mind around it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So this was a mercy killing.
Yeah. I've never supported a cancellation more. Thank you.
Anyway, we're going to stop talking about this. If you heard me laughing earlier and didn't know why, it was because I was thinking of Jamie Kennedy dying again.
What's happening to me? Well, your broke ass is dying. That's what's happening.
I laughed when I realized it was Jamie Kennedy because he's pretty unrecognizable at this point, and then laughed again when he died.
Yeah. I
was like, oh, I hope for his career's sake that he is the bad guy in this episode. And he wasn't.
I actually thought that too, and that's what I said. Like towards the end, I was thinking, like, wow, this is where Jamie Kennedy is now. He's not even part of the main story arc of a single episode of a thing he's on. Okay. He wasn't even part of he was the like D plot.
Oh, what happened? What happened between Scream and now, Jamie?
I don't know. He did a great turn on Reaper. I'll always have a soft spot for him.
That's fair. I haven't seen Reaper. Anyway, guys, we are going to take off. We hope you join us here again next week when we review Lucifer 2x11. And before that, we're going to jump into some news on Monday night. And until next time, keep some DC on your screen. DCOnScreen.com. DC on Screen for Twitter and Facebook. I don't know why I'm saying DC on Screen so early on now in this outro. I did it last time. I don't know why.
Stick with it.
Please forgive me.
Go for it.
No.
Why not?
Proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network. GiantSizeTeamUp.com. Now, keep some DC on your screen.
There we go. Coming in for a landing.